Hey there, this is Yasmin.
And this is Sukaina.
We are two friends who are passionate about having authentic and God centered conversations.
We are delighted to have you with us on this exciting journey.
Welcome to Heartful Insights.
Let's go. So,
Let's try this.
were you afraid this morning?
Um, it's very new.
Mm,
I felt quite, I wouldn't call it fear, I would call it apprehension.
yeah,
Am I ready? Um,
yeah.
would I need to prepare more?
Mm,
But then I was like, look, we're just trying this out. So
mm,
we'll see how it's gonna go. Next time we're gonna have a better setting.
yeah,
Um, hopefully you're gonna come here and actually do it.
inshallah, yeah.
Yeah, do it live.
Yeah.
How about you? How did it make you feel?
To be honest, like I didn't think a lot about making a lot of researches or being very serious about it because even in my childhood, like when I had exams and stuff, I'm not the kind who would want to study a lot before. I like to know the highlights of everything and to keep this part that is spontaneous and, you know, just go with the flow because especially for our podcasts I think that the idea came from the fact that we have long conversations as friends as best friends and stuff, so I think it was special because it was spontaneous and because it felt effortless. So if we start to structure it a lot or I don't know, I wouldn't want to hear something that is very structured. When I listen to a podcast I love when it's natural and when it's just flowing, right?
Yeah. And as I always tell you, this is exactly what I love about our friendship is because we're different, but we
Mm,
complement each other.
yes.
It's like you're more easygoing and a very structured person. I only
Hmm.
function when like everything is planned ahead of time, and sometimes I need to let go. And so we meet in the middle.
But the funny part about this is that, like, if you see me at work, like, professionally speaking, everyone is like, you're very structured, you love structure a lot, you like things to be planned, etc. And I think I didn't realize that I was just balanced somehow until I sit and talk with you because I feel like no, it's fine because Yasmin has another perspective about this and she's even more structured and stuff. So it's very good to actually get to see how how people react to the same situations because sometimes you think you're too much because your environment says you're too much, but somehow when you get to talk to other people you're like, I'm not too much, I think I'm normal. And I think that same goes out for you. Maybe if you meet some other people you'll be like, I'm fine. So
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. And that's why it's very, very important to be open. When we say being open-minded, it's
mm,
not just in your beliefs and in your values. No, it's actually being open to actually um, see how other people react to the same situations as you
mm,
and think to yourself, they might be handling this better than I am. Or being proud of yourself and realizing I'm being too hard on myself. I'm actually handling this
yes.
situation in a really, really nice way. Also, open mindedness
uh,
is really, I think, being able to do both. Like,
exactly.
mm,
Yeah, I totally agree. Plus, I think we needed to jump because I think we were on the same place where it comes to starting something because we've always wanted to do it in the right way. We've always wanted to organize it and to really plan for it. But I think that with people who are really into entrepreneurship that I got close to lately, I felt like they're not really into that. And I think that if they were into that, they would have never started anything because I learned through them that it's good to plan a minimum, but most of it will actually be figured out through the process. And it's so true, especially when it's something new. Like you can learn everything. Like for now, we made researches about Zoom and everything, but a technical problem, and then you feel like, ooh, you know, I can't do it, or what's going on, but it's figure outable because we actually sat and tried to find a solution. I think it's just that, and we won't be perfect. The objective for us in this podcast is to actually be very natural, to share our experiences, our insights, our our heartful insights and to actually talk about it like two best friends. And sometimes just like I need to hear some of the things that you tell me, and they have so much impact in my life, in my relationships, and in how I view things. I think that so many people out there deserve to hear this, and maybe they won't align, but as you said, it will open some areas in their brain where they be like, oh, okay, that's a perspective, people think this. Oh, there are people who think like me. Oh, these people are so different from me. And I think it's so refreshing and so humbling too.
Very, very humbling indeed. Yeah. And thank you for mentioning that. Talking to you also helps me a lot too, because even our backgrounds actually meet in the middle in a really, really nice way. Your background in psychology, I mean, you're teaching me so many things. And what I've noticed is uh, when we have common values, yes, we are still different, but
Mhm,
we do meet somewhere. Like we're both into spirituality, for instance, but
mhm,
you studied psychology, so you can actually make sense of the things that we used to discuss ever since we were teenagers and we were discovering this path together. So now it's more shaped and it's more structured, and it has an essence to it backed by science. And when these informations come from people who are close to you, like in our case, they're different because I could see your growth throughout the years and your perspectives, and some of these perspectives have shifted over time,
mhm.
which gives me uh, more insights, deeper insights into um, everything I learned from you.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean because I share the same thing with you. Now it's very interesting because I'm still studying. So I share with you the experiences, the failures, what I thought was right, my
Totally.
experience about this new thing because psychology is very vague, and I'm so humbled by the informations and how there are so many things. But I think that again, to get back to the fact that we balance each other, I think what was common in our relationship is that since we were very young, and it's rare, we actually got to sit. I think, how old were we? I think 16 years old?
15. 15, and I
15.
remember very well.
Okay, so 15 years old. And we saw, and I remember I was like, Yasmin, I know we were born Muslims, but I want to go and check the Bible and check all the holy books and choose to be a Muslim at such a young age. So it felt like we had the same, like you didn't tell me the same thing, but you were here and we were discussing topics and why is this and why is that, and sometimes you need to make sense out of things. And I think this is what created this bond. Somehow there were so many other things, but this was like really important because I think personally that when a relationship is around God in a way or another, because it can be said in so many ways. There are people who are friends just to gossip, like, you know what I mean? There are people who are friends just because they feel lonely. There are people who are friends just because they like the social status somehow. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I feel like everyone has his own journey, and they're going through shit, or they're going through good stuff, or I don't know. It depends on their age. But I feel like these things or these friendships are not the friendships that really last, or maybe some exceptions if you grow together. But I think like when you have this core belief that there is a safety behind having God and religion, that it will always be there to, again, monitor your values. And you feel safe with this person because you know the values that they have. They don't have it because they just love you as a friend, but because they are like this as a human being. So this feels safe, and I learn a lot from you about this, because every time I feel frustrated or anything, I'm like, I get back to you and I get those really interesting advices, because your advices give me the opportunity to get back to myself. So it's rare, because when you hear advice, you're like, I will tell you to do this and that, and you have this speech where it's, you should do this and you should believe in yourself. But our speeches have always been like, when I get back to you, I know it will be, yes, this motivational part, because we're friends and because you know me so well and you have the right words, like literally for every situation. And also the fact that you'll be like, okay, so you can start waking up before al-fajr, and you can pray, it's going to make you feel better, stuff like this. And these are things that for sure, but sometimes you need people to push you back to God. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the point that you touch based on, which is trusting somebody, not because you grew up together or because you think you know them well, because really people are unpredictable. But when you know that this person has values and they consider and uh, put God above all else,
Mhm.
then you can trust them because you know that they have a higher purpose. Yes, as human beings, I mean, it's self-explanatory. A human is bound to make mistakes, is bound to make bad decisions that might impact others negatively.
Mhm.
But when they have a strong foundation, which is, um, I do care about pleasing the Lord because ultimately I know that following his laws um, is actually the only way for me to be fulfilled and to be successful in this life and the hereafter. Because I know He wants good for me. This is why He gave me these commandments.
Mhm.
So, for instance, if I commit to never gossiping about you and backstab you, it's because, yes, we're friends. I know I have to be loyal, but it's also because I know that we are all like this connection that we share is only allowed and is only flourishing because God is allowing us to. I mean, look how many friendships um, go to waste over small problems, small issues, whatever. So the hearts are so subtle and they change so rapidly
Mhm.
that having God as the basis of relationship and friendship around obeying him, how would how would he see my behavior with my friend right now? Because if I'm obeying those commands and if I'm being respectful to you, if I'm being considerate of your feelings, if I try my best to never hurt you, like the intention behind, I know that he's gonna bless this friendship. And I do care about this friendship. And I want it to last a lifetime, for this life
Yeah.
and the hereafter. So knowing that every single thing that we do, uh, we actually are held accountable for, then we are extra careful. And I assume even psychology and spiritual wisdom focuses on this point. Like when you love something and care for it, you shouldn't go like, oh, I'm just gonna be casual, I'm gonna be myself, and if it's meant to be, if it's not meant to be. No, if I love something and value it, I have to cherish it and I have to learn how to actually take care of it in order for it to remain and to not only remain, but to actually grow bigger and better and more fulfilling and more blissful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think both of us having God as the center of this friendship
Mhm.
is what's gonna make it thrive.
True.
And I believe that's what kept us going for so many years now, over, I don't know,
Yeah.
over 15 years now. So, yeah.
Yeah, 52. No, sorry, 17 years.
17.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but to actually, because you said something very important. You talked about the fact that uh you choose to reward or you choose to invest in this relationship. And I think that one of the things that are very interesting about religions or spirituality generally is that you get to have control and you get to choose what you invest into and what you reward, especially. And I think it's very important. I think mostly if we have to say, or if I have to choose one thing that is insanely good about religion, is the fact that it teaches you to be disciplined. It teaches you to be disciplined through prayer. It teaches you to be disciplined because you have to be conscious about your choices. And I think it's also something very important in psychology because you have to take the time to filter your thoughts and to have control over your emotions, because the emotions don't just arise. Today, if I feel like sometimes you do something bad to me and I'm like, okay, because I feel angry at you, because it's a human, like we're best friends, but sometimes it's not always great. So if today I'm angry at you and I just choose to follow this emotion because behind as like she did this and this and that, so I'm gonna hurt her, she hurt me, I'm gonna hurt her. This is where you lose it, and this is, I think, where most of relationships, not just friendship, lose it. But if today I choose to sit with my anger and to understand where it comes from, and to understand that maybe my perspective is just my perspective, and that maybe the other person didn't mean what I think she meant, or that maybe like to choose to communicate about it, and you choose to overcome it together instead of just reacting. I think this is gold, and I think this is what's missing. Now, we're not perfect, but at least when you do this once and twice, and you choose to take a step back when you feel those emotions, because usually those emotions are not just about your friend. Sometimes it's about many things that happened to you in the past. So when she touches that point, it's already a trigger. So it comes with all the history behind, and your reaction isn't only based on what happened in that moment. It's like so many things that arise. So when you choose to sit with it and to be like, okay, it's our friendship that matters more than what I'm feeling right now. Let me sit with it and communicate. And this is where you will get to see that perspectives are different. And when you don't have ego, because God is the center of it, and because you care about the relationship, you will definitely figure it out. But if you're just here to follow your emotions, to go with the, I'm like this, because this is a toxicity that social media promotes a lot. You have to accept people as they are. Okay, I accept you as you are, but make an effort. I mean, you can't be like, you know what I mean? You can't be just yourself and be bad and be disrespectful, and I just accept you because you are who you are. No, I'm sorry. Like, there are boundaries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it all boils down to respecting yourself before being able to respect anybody else. Like, it's the foundation. Because, like,
Mhm.
if you don't create those boundaries and keep stepping on yourself and just accepting whatever comes at you, it's a kind of programming, and it is beyond toxic, because when it touches your self-esteem,
Hmm.
it's gonna poison the whole spiritual process, because that's where it starts
Hmm.
from. Because
Yeah.
when we're too attached to God, we understand that we actually have a part of God in us, his soul. Like, he literally breathed his soul into each of us. And so the reason why I'm so big on respecting ourselves is not out of ego. It's because I literally have a divine part in me. And even this nafs, this ego that God has put into me, is considered an amana. It's something that I actually have to nurture, take care of,
Yeah.
and strive to make wise. So it's my responsibility to take care of this whole being that is me, in order for me to give it back in a better state than it was given to me. Because when we respect ourselves, when we understand who we truly are, and how important this amana is,
Mm-hmm.
then we can operate and we can behave with other people from a space of
Mm.
fullness. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I know my worth, not because of me, but because of who created me, because of who chose me to have this experience. That's why I'm worthy. It's because I belong to him. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, but I totally get
No,
what you're saying.
and yeah, and you
Yeah,
said something very important because you talked about the fact that there's this nafs in us that God created in us, and that we need to choose to nurture it. And honestly, what are values? Your values are the things that you chose over and over again. For example, today, if I am again, if we had an argument, if today I choose to just talk in a bad way about you, or ignore you, or instead of communicating I was just ghost you and say bad things behind your back, or I would choose to sit with it and communicate with you about it. If I do this today and tomorrow and I keep on choosing this side of me, this is a way for me to nurture nafs, because we say that
absolutely.
like one of our missions on earth is to actually be good people and to nurture this side of us, because there will
Yes.
always
Yes.
be. And that's why I don't like people who are always like, yeah, we're great, you know, we're initially good people. No, I don't believe in that. I believe like you choose to be a good person by choosing
Yes.
to do the right thing over and over again. And that's why I
Absolutely.
think discipline is so underrated nowadays. I think that's why it's very important to actually be disciplined about your thoughts, about your reactions, about how you choose to talk about things. It's the core of all relationships. It's your values, because this is what you choose to do over and over again. So the risk is lower. There will always be this risk where people will lose it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
normal, but at least you know that you feel some kind of safety because you're values are aligned. And I think we talked about it last time when we talked about how our wounds are also very interesting, because everyone's talking about, yeah, you need to know your wounds because it's important to work on them, which is great. But I told you, I really appreciate the fact that I know I have this wound of injustice that screams sometimes, and I feel the safest around you because I know that because maybe you have the same wound, you're very careful, and you know you will be super loyal because you know how much it hurts, and you will be super fair because you know how much it hurts, and you love clarity and you emphasize on it because you know how important it is. So being with people who understand your wounds are very important, and you don't necessarily need to have people who have different wounds as long as you both are working on it. On the contrary, it could be really interesting, like you would complement each other in this journey, you know.
Absolutely. And before I actually comment on the wound part that you mentioned, because it's very, very interesting and it's very relevant to our conversations, I want to go back to the question of discipline that you mentioned, and
Mhm.
how it's underrated these days, where self-acceptance is being commercialized to the point of forgetting the balance that, you know, discipline is actually the key to us feeling powerful in life, you know. And people tend to forget this. They tend to think that being free and being our own self and doing whatever we want is taking control of our life and is being
Yeah.
powerful, because we choose to not care about others. And
Mhm.
but the reality of things is, I believe, as human beings, we only feel deserving when we take action, like at a raw state.
Mhm.
Like, say I want to have a good life, I want to have abundance, and I want to have good relationships. We have not been wired. Like, to us it's counterintuitive to think that, oh, I want these things, but I mean, they're gonna come to me anyway, you know, whether I pursue them or not. No, it if
Mm.
we get these ideas, then they're usually accompanied with a sense of anxiety of
Exactly.
what if, what if, this never happens. What if I stay
Mm,
stuck? However, when we are disciplined, when we actually decide, when we make a decision that we want to upgrade to a higher level, these
mm,
relationships around me are not fulfilling. So I'm seeking better quality relationships that are actually filling my soul, where I
mm,
feel respected, where my boundaries are being considered. I want to be more abundant. I want to be more free, and I want to travel. All these things, they require us to take action, to make a conscious effort,
mm,
whether it is just like praying constantly about it, the idea of actually having that goal in front of you, you
mm.
focus on it, and you pray about it daily, gives you a sense of proactivity. You
Yeah.
feel like you are doing something to deserve that thing. That's innate in us. And I believe it's humbling yet empowering,
Mm,
because it equips us with all the tools that we need, and it opens our minds to
mm,
the signs and the doors that we might be missing out. So then again, if we take this concept and apply it to friendships, since it is the main topic we started with,
mm.
then being disciplined in our friendships is the key. Because let's say I want this to last a lifetime.
Mm,
How can it last a lifetime? How can it? I know for a fact that dua has a powerful, if not the most powerful effect in keeping hearts aligned and
mm,
keeping relationships, healthy. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to commit to myself and commit to God that because this friendship's important to me, I'm going to include it in my prayers. And when I'm thankful, when I offer gratitude to the Lord, because gratefulness is so big, and it's like,
yeah.
to me, it's a miraculous act of worship, and we're gonna talk about this later. I'm gonna include this friendship into my gratitude act of worship practice, so that it grows, because it's a law. The
Mm,
more you're grateful, the more uh, things you're gonna get to be grateful about. That is a law,
yeah.
right? And so the more I am proactive, like on a daily basis, and I know that I'm doing my part
Yeah.
and I communicate well, even if I slip, because you said it, we
Mm,
might all break down because we have our
mm,
wounds, we have our own issues, we have our own problems we have to deal with. But in order for the healthy parts to outweigh these wounds and these automatic
mm.
pilot behaviors, we get to choose what to focus our energy on.
Yeah.
Hello, hello! Welcome to Heartful Insights, your warm space for real conversations and the kind of authentic growth that starts from within. We're just two friends on a journey, and we're glad to have you here with us. Let's dive in.
You know, I'm a really big fan of actually knowing what your deal breakers are. If I go and gossip about you to other people, and I know it is a deal breaker to you, and I go ahead and do it, and I don't appropriately apologize for it or give an actual explanation or whatever, then that would mean that I don't care. Because, yes, as we said, when you actually care about someone or something, you're going to be extra careful not to lose it. And you're going to be extra careful not to overstep that person's boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And this also leads to the concept of unconditional love. And I'm going to say something that might be counterintuitive. I don't believe in unconditional love unless it's, a mother with her child and vice versa, child with his mother. And there is some psychological foundations to this idea. Every other relationship needs proper care in order to maintain the love. The love can disappear anytime because love is not just an emotion that's there and overpowers everything else. Love is something that keeps growing when it is properly nurtured with love, with respect, with consideration, and all of these things that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So I see this concept of friends or lovers talk about, oh no, we are so meant to be that whatever happens, we are going to stick together until the end. I don't believe in that, because
Yeah.
when you love somebody, you actually are making a conscious choice to give them that energy. Yes, the initial feelings are instilled in you. There are some people that we are drawn to, some people with whom it clicks, some people with whom it would never click. So that initial get together is a divine plan. It's from the divine. It's God putting us together for a specific purpose. But it's really up to us to maintain that connection. What's often mistaken for love, I believe, is attachment. When you're too attached to what this relationship used to bring you, to what this friendship is bringing to your day-to-day life, that in your brain you refuse to believe that it's over because you need that energy from that friendship, but it doesn't mean that it's love.
Yeah, what is love to you?
Like, love to me is safety, is to be safe. That's it. Like, to me, if I love somebody, equals me feeling safe with this somebody. If I don't feel safe with you, I cannot say that I truly love you.
Okay, and
Because love,
I'm sorry. What is it that makes you feel safe?
what makes me feel safe is exactly what you said in the beginning. Knowing that, for example, you're my best friend, you know exactly what hurts me deeply. So I know you're gonna be extra careful to never do those things on purpose. I know it. So that makes me feel safe in our friendship.
Okay.
Not only do you say those things, but they are backed up by actions. So we've had our issues, we've had our fights, and yet I saw that you were extra careful not to say something that would stick, because some things that we say can last a lifetime, can have a lifetime impact. So to me, love and safety go hand in hand. I
Yeah.
don't know, like, so if someone breaks the trust, and I think that maybe one day they're gonna walk out on me, or one day they might go
Mm,
and do that thing on purpose.
mm-mm,
If I still want them in my life,
mm.
then it's just a toxic attachment.
Yeah,
And this is
100%. Yeah.
this is
No,
how I see it.
I totally agree with you because I think that the last
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Now tell me, I think there is a connection problem. That's why we
no, no,
hear each
sorry,
other
sorry.
late. No, it's me.
Yeah,
Tell
it
me.
was an overlap. No, to to actually finish the idea of unconditional love, and why I gave the example of the mother with her child and vice versa, and only some mothers. I'm not talking about all mothers,
Mm-hmm.
because a mother is the only person who would literally never ever want to purposefully hurt their child.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, because it's the one human being. And then again, I'm not generalizing, I'm not saying all mothers, because we hear all
Yeah,
sorts of stories.
yeah.
But on the other hand, it's a special bond. Even
Mm,
God talks about the bond that the mom
mm,
has with the child, not the
yeah.
father,
Mm,
not the extended family, the mother.
mm-hmm.
You know, there is a divine um, orchestration of this relationship.
Yeah.
So a mom can say confidently, I love my child unconditionally, even if that child does something crazy, super hurtful. She might still care and love that child.
No, I agree
Um,
with what you're saying. It's just that I think it's not always the case with moms because sometimes the kid would want to hurt as a reaction of him being hurt, you know? And even in that situation, you can find the mom in a forgiven state. I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think the bond between the mom and the daughter or the son is really out of this world. But for me, honestly, when I think about unconditional love, it's mostly our relationship with God. Because when you think about it, you're like, even all the in the Quran, for example, as we're Muslims, you have if you do this, there is this. If you do this, there is this. I don't see it as punishments. I see it as God telling you this is how it works. These are the laws of the universe. If you do this, you will get this. If you do this, you will get that, whether it's positive or negative. But still, when I listen to all the stories of the people who did insane things, knowing He has only blessed us, like we are blessed with the gift of life. We are not asked to do anything. We have everything. We get to wake up every day. We get to enjoy our life in a way or another, even when we're not aware of it. Like if you just take a moment and look at the sky, I mean, it's wow. I mean, like I feel, thank you, God, you gave us this universe, which is so magical, and we get to live in it every single day. And still, we will make so many mistakes, and in all the stories I hear, there are so many mistakes. And by the time you just sit and you tell yourself, or you go to God and you'll be genuinely like, I am really sorry, you will be forgiven. This is for me is whoa. I mean, like
absolutely.
I know for sure no human can do that. Like
I
like
love this.
no
Yes.
human can do that because there are extents. I think since we all have like a part of the of God or a breathing of God in us, we actually embody one of His names. And because the mom is actually somehow a creator, because everything happens inside of her, and we actually live for 9 months or less in her body, it is emphasized, you know, like it is more than other humans. But with people, since we're talking about boundaries, deal breakers, etc., I think like our love with God is something from not from this world. And I think we were created with so much love. When I think about it, I just want to cry because it's just insane. It's crazy. But when it comes to humans, to get back to your point, I think that like for now, if you tell me what is love for you, love for me is a choice. And a choice in which way? As you said, there is a divine part because you feel drawn to some people and not to others. And even that part can be like due to traumas, because I realized lately, you know, before, sometimes when I liked someone, and I'm talking about guys, sometimes you feel like you're kind of frustrated, but your nervous system is not right. Like, not that you like him, so there's this butterfly. No, sometimes you feel like it's emphasized. And I used to like this. And for me, it was chemistry and wow, and like movies. But now, like, for sure, I know this is a bad sign. I'm not supposed to feel that way that much towards someone and to feel uncomfortable. Like my nervous system is not good around this person. I know this is a really bad side. So this is where I want to talk that yes, sometimes we're drawn to some people, but be careful because there is drawn and there is drawn. And I just like it's very important to know the difference. So sometimes you feel like, with this person, like I don't feel like, oh, I don't want to talk to him or something. I feel like, okay, we can have a conversation, we can talk, because it doesn't always start from a place where you're admiring the person if you don't know them. And if this clicks with really good values, with someone who respects you, who doesn't have those deal breakers, because I want to choose my battles, especially for someone I want to spend the rest of my life with, hopefully. And when you have all these things, and I think the most important part in this, and people don't really pay attention to it, me included, is that what you reward from that point is what will stay in your life. Because if you're conscious and you admire that person for the human that he is, not for the physical attraction or his hair, his smile, this is all good, and physical attraction is important, but if the main focus of admiration is this, it's a red flag for me. But if the main focus of admiration is, I really like this human, so I know that if I'm angry at them or if there is a problem, I will still respect the human that he is. I would not be like, assassin, I know he's a bad boy, or assassin, he hurt people, assassin, you know what I mean? His values are clean for you. You have the respect for this people or this person. And when you do this and you choose to reward this, I think this is where you start winning in life. And this is where you start, it's like life starts to shift from just, you know, people coming and going because this one is good, this one is nice, this one's smile is nice, this one, you know, and you just follow in your emotions, and you go to a place where I know what I want. And if the values match the physical attraction, I want to nurture this, and I want to be good towards this relationship. And even if he's not the one, I know it's like I'm given a sign that this is what I want because I'm rewarding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that. I absolutely love everything you said. This is so deep and so meaningful. And this one idea that you've been developing so well can have its own podcast. So, yeah, totally agreed.
Sure.
And this is why I am so big on getting to know our own values first, because, like, that's the starting point. Many people say that in relationships and in seeking the perfect partner for us, we should start off by writing a list. That is good. That's still, you know, it offers some kind of direction. But first of all, I think the most pondering that we have to be doing at this stage is figuring out what our values are. And I'm not talking about, you know, like everything that matters to us. No, start by that. You know, if you don't know the key 5 values, I would start with 5, like 10, and narrow it down to 5. For example, loyalty. That is my number 1 value. For example, philanthropy. Like, I have a vision. I don't just want to get with someone, have fun, travel, eat, sleep with, and that's it, and die, have kids with and die. I want to do big things together. So a common purpose, if that is something that's super important to you, then it should be one of your values, like your top 5 values. So then what this does is that when you meet a person and let's say, yes, they're nice, yes, they have the same religious background and you get along so well and they're so nice, but if they lack purpose in their vision, maybe that would also be a signal. You know what I
Very
mean?
true.
So yeah, uh, when you know exactly what matters to you, what fuels you, that's where you have to start before writing down that list. But I didn't do that from the get-go. I started off with a list. It's something that I figured out with time, because what happened is when I had my list of 100 and something, criteria, I kept meeting people who matched that list, but who missed the core values that I didn't even know I had at that time. I would get along with that person, he would be so awesome. We would have deep conversations about life. But the drive and the fire that I knew I needed in a relationship, someone who's gonna be my teammate in building something big. I didn't just want to be with someone and be married to that someone and that's it, and have our life limited within a household. No, and I didn't know that. That is why, to me, we have to spend time, like literally disconnect, sit with ourselves, and know exactly, like how do we picture our daily, our ideal daily routine, and then include that husband in that ideal routine and see what he adds. Not just, it's like we have to start from the end and narrow it down and going back. And that will filter people out much faster than we might think. Because as you said, what we focus on, what we reward keeps showing up. But if we start from the core of the essence of the connection that we're seeking, then people might filter out a lot easier and a lot faster.
Yeah, you're so right. And I think that's why it's important to start the journey, because as you said, you don't always know what you want. In the beginning, when we used to do
Yes.
that, you remember we would write those long lists and you'd be like,
Yes.
and there is something about that, because I know that many people do this. They actually go and start writing, and generally it's 100 criteria. And
Yeah.
I would do that, and I remember sitting with myself and be like, can I really find all of these things in a person? Like, because in the end, I was like trying to dig deeper in order to find other criteria just to be, able to find 100. And what I realized later is that it's just a way for you to focus on positive aspects of one's personality. But the most important part, as you said, is to find the core values and the deal breakers, because this is what would really filter. And until you find the right things, you will start with the things you think you want. And as
Yes.
you said, you will meet people with the criteria of the things you
Yes.
think you want. And when you will be with them, you feel like, I feel like there's still something missing. And it's
Absolutely.
I think it's a journey. And, sometimes I used to think, why sometimes you feel like people who meet or date a lot would find their person faster. Like that was one of my beliefs, because I used to see that. And I'd be like, how is that possible? And I realized that for some people, not all of them, because some people date a lot, and some people actually learn from their relationships. And whenever she gets out of relationships, if she is someone who's aware, she'd be like, okay, I don't like that. Eliminate it. I love this. Add it to the list. If she's someone who's smart, well, you and I, we know that we're not made for such things. I mean, dating for me is like,
No.
woo, it's a big decision, but I think there are so many ways to know it. Um, but it's hard without dating, to be very honest. Like, how did you experience that?
Okay, I love this topic. I got so excited when you mentioned this.
Okay, tell me everything.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about people who might find their ideal partners faster. Good for them. That's perfect. You know, we don't know their story. I can only learn from what I know. When we want something extraordinary and special, we have to first introspect and be honest with ourselves and see if we truly believe we can have it and handle it. Not only have it, but if we can actually handle the healthy, extremely fulfilling and rewarding relationship we are looking for. And we might think, yes, of course, who wouldn't? Who would be able to handle something so seemingly perfect? Well, I'll tell you, the first block, the first thing that we might encounter throughout this journey, and it's something that I've struggled with personally, is the idea of this is too good to be true. And most dangerous is this is too good to last. And this is one of the biggest reasons for us to get on this journey and to actually start inwards. You know, it's not a philosophical idea when people say everything starts from the self. It is very, very true. Because knowing that you want this ideal person, as we mentioned earlier, as human beings, we only feel deserving of things we're aligned with and that we're proactively are seeking. So if in my head, this person, this man, he's such a high quality man, but would I be deserving of him? Because there is a certain alignment that needs to happen. Okay, maybe your values are matched, but am I confident enough to have such a partner, such a powerful partner who's gonna pull me up? I'm saying I want a big purpose. Am I ready? Am I really ready for something big? Am I ready to expand like suddenly with this person? Do I think I'm going to be able to handle it? These are the big questions that we need to ask and that we are not going to figure out by dating a lot. So
Very true.
I cannot talk for other people. Other people's experiences, some people like they find true love the first time they meet somebody. That's their own journey. That's their, like, there is a purpose behind that story. But maybe the purpose of us going through so many things is because we are meant to share this journey with people and maybe, you know, like give them insights and help them.
100%.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we each have a journey to walk on. And personally, I'd rather go through these steps than suddenly step into something beautiful and keep on wrecking it and, you know, try and fix it and navigate through. I'd rather take my time and be prepared for that special connection so that when it comes, I mean, I'm gonna make mistakes. Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect. But the foundations of me not sabotaging it, because so many beautiful relationships get sabotaged because of a lack of self-confidence. Because like they might not say it out loud, but when you go back, when you start digging, it's always this idea of, you know, maybe I'm not enough, maybe, you know, something bad's gonna end up happening. I mean, again, the idea of this is too good to last. This is the biggest the
feeling of not being deserving this. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a real thing, even if it might not seem the case, but when we dig deep, it is ingrained in us. because we are surrounded by so many negative narratives.
Mm-hmm.
If you turn on your TV right now, uh, I mean, every TV series, every TV show or movie has a storyline of cheating involved. There
Exactly.
So yeah, basically being the person and actively becoming that person every day, every situation at a time, because this empowers you. It gives you the impression and the strong feeling that you're deserving of that reality. And then again, when you're proactive and like even externally, dressing like the person you're seeking to become holds a lot of power.
Yeah.
The way you talk, the way you move, the way the boundaries that you set with people, things that you used to tolerate. Would this new version of you tolerate them? If not, then you stop right now. So it's self growth at the same time, but it's a double win because now you're not only growing spiritually and uh,
Yeah.
uh, being the person you ideally want to become, but you're aligning with your divine plan. You're actually, you know, basically doing everything you should be doing to for it to come to pass.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's a very powerful thing. And I like the fact that you emphasized on what the law of assumption is known for, and the heart of what it really is to live in
Yeah.
the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to act from there. Because if you sit with yourself and do like you said, like I am today I am experiencing this and this and that, which is what I want, you will it happened to me that I started healing from there, because sometimes I would just imagine the person I want to be and release so many emotions, because it would make me sometimes know that wherever I want to be does not hold this emotion, or does not hold this insecurity, and it's so powerful if you look at it from that part. And if you get back also to the fact that our self-image is shaped by our childhood, and not everyone had loving caregivers. And sometimes you have loving caregivers, but who loved you the way they saw it, right? Which was very conditional. And sometimes you see that even some teachings, sometimes when I read or listen to some reels, because now with all the informations we have on social media, sometimes it's tiring, you don't even know who's talking, and they're actually telling you about ways to educate your child. And it's scary, because you're like, this kid, like if we're talking about 3 years old, 4 years old, 2 years old, all they need to know, or the only source of love that they know, is their parents. And it's, I don't want to say it, but it's their God somehow. And you are very conditional and tough, while all they want to feel is reassured and loved. And you're like, no, punish them. Why? He's stubborn, he's trying to manipulate us. And I hear some definitions, I'm like, are you guys serious? I can understand that at some point, yes, the way you educate your kids is different. You're starting to install discipline, etc. But at such a young age, it's cruel, and it actually shapes even the way you see God. And that's the very dangerous part for me, because when you're a kid, your word is your parents or caregivers. So for you, your mom is your source. You came from there, and she's your only reference. When you want to eat, it's her. When you want to be held, it's her. When you're crying, it's her. When you want to sleep, it's her. She's your only reference with the dad. So imagine being tough from this place. It's really bad. And that's why I think people who have a strong spiritual bond with God get to have that shift on their own. Because when you start to read about how God loves us, how he blessed us, and especially when you don't just take the informations, when you dig deeper, when you try to understand, when you read the Quran, when you read the stories of the prophets, when you are there to genuinely know instead of just reading interpretations. I don't mind, some are really amazing, but some just don't make sense to me. And I feel like when you try to get to know God directly, and you see how merciful, how compassionate he is, and how he's always there for you, this actually also shifts the way you start to feel about your caregivers, and you become more tolerant and more understanding, because you know now who's your source and you get everything from him, and you're not dependent of other people to give you this feeling. And that's why in so many videos, because, well, you and I, we love Ahmed Aymara. I know that he is a big part of our teenage years as well. So it helped us shape our view of how religion is, which was really refreshing. And one of the things that he used to say, and I loved it, is that you can sit, and anything that you miss, a feeling, anything, if you want to be reassured, if you want to feel safe, if you want to communicate in a more healthy way, or in a healthier way, always get back to God, sit with it, and feel like you're having everything from him. And it might sound stupid, but it's so good, because you feel like you don't depend of any other human, and everything that you need can be actually given from God. Now, I don't want to sound delusional, because I am sometimes I'm delusional, but I'm also very realistic. We are physical humans, and we need the physical interactions with people, and we need to fix our relationships as well. But I think when it comes from this place where you know that you're not needy, but you have the basics from God, you know you can get back to God and pray and make dua and just talk to him, and feel like you're full from the inside. And then from that point of not being needy, of not being empty and looking for people to fulfill this void inside of you, when you go to fix your relationships, it comes from a better place, and it gives better insight, and there is more compassion than judgment, because again, you don't need this person to give you something. You feel like you're not -10 and this person is going to give you 5, and you'd be like, this is amazing, but you're still under, you're still -5 in the end of the day. But if you're -10 and you sit with God and you talk with him and you figure out everything, and you feel like he loves you and that you were chosen to be on earth and to experience life with him by your side, and he gives you the law, he gives you the possibility of tawakkul, you feel like he's with you, so you don't feel like I'm weak. I can be weak, but with God I'm very strong. So you feel like you have this force that helps you to actually come outside and face the world from a good place. And this is very powerful to me. Again, because I got back to the self-image, it's powerful to actually have this relationship and this bond with God, because it helps you shift from seeing yourself through your parents' lenses or your caregiver's lenses to how God sees you, because he created you in the first place. And from there, the law of assumption and everything that comes with it will help you just get more clarity and to work on the things you need to work on, as you said. I really believe in that.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And if I were to add a layer to what you're saying right now, spiritually, like God is enough. Like literally, he is the most important part in our life. And he is the one that we need to keep seeking.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have needs and desires that he instilled in us. And from this stems the idea that we need our desires to be aligned with his will.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we allow God to take part, like actively, and we actually ask him, God, I'm desiring this way too much. I feel that I'm becoming dependent on it. Like it's draining me. I'm wanting this way too much. I'm obsessing over it. If it is from you, if it's something that you put in my heart because you want to see me pursue it, and you know it's going to make me a better person, and you know that it's part of my divine plan and purpose, then keep it there. Like wanting something so much, I realized recently, is not all that bad, because that's the fuel that we need to pursue with grit, and to persevere when things get tough, when the going gets tough. We need it. We need to want something really, really
Yes.
strongly.
Mm.
The difference is, though, what makes us feel empty is when we want things that are not aligned with who we truly are. You know, it's like, I
Mm.
want that person and that person alone.
Mm.
That breaches the law of putting God above all else.
Mm.
However, if we feel that we want somebody, we do want to have that special relationship. Like, to me, once you actually verify the alignment of this intense desire with the divine will, and you know for sure that God also wants this for you, like it's your time, this is
Mm.
your season, like once it's settled, you have to embrace that feeling of urgency. There's nothing bad about it. And to me, contrarily, the media and the self-help industry tries to, break that idea and make it sound wrong. The
Mm.
detaching. And to me, detaching from your desire
Mm.
is is the opposite of having an unshakable faith in it coming true.
Mm.
Because when God gave you the green light, He said, yeah, I want this for you. Now
Mm.
go for it. I'm with you. No matter what happens, like I'm with you. That's where your unshakable faith
Mhm.
needs to show proof that it's sincere. That's when you need to show sincerity. But
Mm.
if you're casual about it, if you go like, okay, well, yeah, I want this, but whatever, if it
Mm.
happens, if it doesn't happen, I'm still fine. No, because we are human beings. We need
Yeah,
experiences. We need other people. Needing something does not mean being needy.
exactly.
It means God in the Quran said, for example, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ جَعَلَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. So, ayah in the Quran means
Mm.
miracle. So
Mm.
to me, the first time I came across this verse, I realized, oh my God, marriage is considered a miracle? And God tells me that
Mm.
with a divine spouse, these are the feelings that I'm supposed to be feeling: complete peace, complete ease,
Mhm.
second, mawadda, wa rahma. These three terms transcend love. They transcend
Mhm.
every other term that we come across in the relationship realm. So if he tells me in his book that he created that union, and with it come the associated feelings that we all strive for, why wouldn't I pursue it fervently?
Yeah,
To me, it's not only a right, it's an obligation, because it's something that is elevating. It
yeah,
elevates the soul. It's something like love is a very empowering feeling. Romantic love, I mean.
yeah,
So at the same time, it's something that we have to pursue, yes, but we cannot settle
mm.
once we make the decision that I want these three terms to be my reality. I want a marriage where I experience al-mawadda wal-rahma. So once I make this commitment, in order to show up for it, I will need to prove my sincerity through not settling.
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
a lot of people, when they come across this idea, they go like, okay, but what if it doesn't happen now? What if? And that's where the idea of detachment becomes attractive.
mm. Mm.
But no, because there are so many people who don't care much to
True.
have a spouse. It's not part of their purpose. They genuinely don't want it.
Mm.
Or people who have been divorced and they don't feel like they want a companion.
Mm.
But if you desire it so much and it's super important to your higher purpose, why not? Why not embrace it? Because a
True.
strong desire, when really confirmed that it's from the Lord, is your sign. It is your message
Yeah.
that you have to take an active part, you know? Then it
Yeah.
doesn't come from a place of neediness, of I just need someone to cuddle up with, or I need somebody
Exactly.
to, you know, make me feel loved, to make me feel valued. No.
Mm.
Now you have a higher purpose.